The Turkish military and the Free Syrian Army have entered Afrin town centre. Before Afrin town centre was taken, the military said 70% of Afrin was now YPG free. Now they've been pushed out. They've been pushed out of Afrin town centre in a massive victory. 58 days after Operation Olive Branch began, the YPG are now out of Afrin town.
Asad Baig, who spent the night at the scene of the fire, is with me in the studio. And Asad, you arrived very shortly after the fire was first reported, didn't you?
Yes, Kathy, I arrived to a towering inferno. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. These red flames had engulfed this building and the smoke was just going into the sky. And the police had set up cordons and neighbours were just standing there in utter shock, just looking up. Not knowing what to do, and also in a sense of helplessness, just watching what their neighbours were going through. And slowly, some of the residents of the tower block began to come out onto the streets. And I saw them embracing, crying, and some desperately searching. I spoke to one man who said he left his flat with his wife, and there was thick smoke as they went down the stairs, and he said she was right behind me. And when he left the building, she wasn't there. And he was crying, he was trying to call the hospitals, and he was going from centre to centre that's been set up for the residents, trying to find her. But also there's been an outpouring of help. I saw some volunteers from East London, the other side of the city, bring water, food and blankets at 4:30 a.m. in the morning. But there are questions to be answered. There are, how did this happen? Why did this happen? And as the days continue and the investigation, the firefighters go into this building, we'll begin to get answers. First off, what we need to know is that the Rohingya people don't have citizenship. They haven't had citizenship since 1982 when it was stripped from them. Now, they live in camps, their movements are strictly controlled, they have limited access to health, education, water, and if it wasn't for the aid agencies helping them, I think the situation would be even more desperate than it is.
In terms of what the government are doing, we know that the Pope has been invited to try and intervene, but are they doing enough to remedy the situation, or are these cultural differences and prejudices entrenched?
That's a very good question, because what people need to understand is that Burma is a place where anti-Muslim hatred is mainstream. Many people have looked to Aung San Suu Kyi to condemn the violence or to show some leadership. In fact, her office came out and said aid workers were helping terrorists. She refused to call it a genocide or ethnic cleansing. In fact, she said ethnic cleansing was too strong words to use.
Visitors coming to Finsbury Park Mosque are greeted with flowers and sweets. There's also exhibitions set up around Muslim and Islamic history across this main hall. There's stalls set up by the National Health Service, the police and charities, and also Arsenal Football Club. And this year has added significance because of the terrorist attack that took place last year in the month of Ramadan. Darren Osborne ploughed his van into worshippers that were leaving the mosque, killing Makram Ali, aged 51, and seriously injuring 12 others. Now, Darren Osborne was sentenced earlier this month to life in prison with a minimum of 43 years. And there's a stall here specifically set up to remember that event with messages of support, solidarity and love, not just from people around the surrounding area of the mosque, but from across the country. And there's over 200 mosques taking place as part of this initiative, welcoming people in, opening the doors to people of faith and no faith at all, and asking them to come and speak to Muslims and get to know their neighbours. Both Baghdad and Ankara are concerned about the PKK because they entered the cities of Kirkuk and Suleymaniye and established cantons there. Now, the foreign minister said that they didn't feel secure with the PKK being in Iraq, and said that they have the support and agreement of Baghdad to take them on. Now, it's going to happen sometime after the Iraqi elections on May the 12th. Turkey considers the PKK terrorists, and it's important to note not just Turkey but also the European Union and the United States. Now, this operation is going to take place. The foreign minister said that they are able to carry out multiple operations at the same time because their military has that capacity, and Turkey feels confident about their objectives. The former co-chairman of the PYD is in Sweden. Turkey have asked Sweden for this detention, and obviously Ankara is not happy with the lack of help they've been getting from the European partners in apprehending someone they consider to be a terrorist, because this isn't the first time he's travelled in Europe. And obviously Ankara are concerned about the PKK and the affiliate groups fundraising in Europe, gathering support in Europe, and using those cities as political leverage. So this is of great concern to Ankara, and they want this man apprehended and brought to Turkey. The Turkish military have blocked access to Afrin town. Now that's following the explosion, the YPG bomb that exploded yesterday that killed 11 people, 7 civilians and 4 FSA fighters. At the time, the FSA fighters were going through a 4-story building and the bomb went off, apparently leaving a crater 4 meters deep. Now that's obviously raised concerns for the safety of the civilians and people wanting to return, so the Turkish military has blocked off access. The Free Syrian Army, backed by the Turkish military, entered Afrin town centre early this morning. Now this is symbolic because it means this is a massive defeat for the YPG. There were scenes of jubilation. They were firing their weapons in the air, the Free Syrian Army, and the Free Syrian Army flag and the Turkish flag were raised on buildings. Throughout the day, the Free Syrian Army took up key positions in the town and it emerged they had full control of Afrin town centre, but the threat still remained because we saw a Free Syrian Army soldier being taken away in an ambulance because he had been injured by a mine. Now this will take some time as the Free Syrian Army and the Turkish military meticulously work through the town and try to clear the place of landmines and any booby traps. But there was also some fear amongst the people there because some members of the Free Syrian Army were looting. I'm not saying the majority, but some were, and this created some fear amongst the people. But generally the Free Syrian Army was welcomed and there was a lot of praise from the people for the Turkish military. People are grateful that the YPG had been pushed out.